Good that you explored that. All right, shall we get started? All right, welcome back everyone from the break. We will resume the second part, which is quite familiar to you. We have already done that in week one, but now we'll be doing it in Data IQ so that you understand a bit more features of Data IQ and where it is doing some tricks so that you understand everything. How do we prep for this? Is in the week one folder, you would see bank data new, so you can download that file again. It's the same data set that we have used earlier, so you're quite familiar with that. So bank data new is the file that you'll be downloading. Also on Data IQ, I would recommend making a new project in the same folder. So just go to your folder and make a new project, call it bank project or bank data. And you can also import your new bank data, and then we'll get started. So if you can keep your flow ready so that I can see if you have, find your folder first right at the bottom. Inside the folder, make a new project, call it bank project or whatever, and then just import your data, keep your flow ready. So, we should do the schema thing right now. No, later. So, once everyone is ready, then I'll further answer that. Keep the flow ready so that I can see bank data. Right after the break. Maybe 12 2 more minutes for everyone to settle in. Is everyone ready? Are we waiting for anyone? Just give me a minute. Okay, now a few things. Some of you were asking, do we always like when you import the data, you have the schema right at the start, and there's an opportunity to make some changes over there. So my approach to data IQ would always be the opposite, and please listen to it very carefully because I don't want you to waste a lot of time by making sure everything is perfect. As and when we go on, if you feel something is not perfect, then it's the right time to make a change. And let me give you an example. For example, you got this data and there are like 30 columns in this data set, let's say. Now, if you start thinking about each column, whether it is the perfect data type, the inference is correct, and then go to the second column, third column, you're wasting a lot of time in terms of making everything perfect before you move on. I would say that as and when you go on, observe if a certain column is causing any problems to you. And then once you are here in the explore or the prepare recipe, you can always make changes at any point of time. So my first strategy is usually the opposite. I import it first, make it ready, and then as and when needed, you can make whatever changes are required. And I'll give you an example of that. Let's start with one task and let me see if you notice there is any problem or not. So let's click on bank data and you would see a column if you scroll towards the end, which is the balance scale average. Okay. Have a look at that column, which is called balance scale average. Do you notice this column? Yeah. Now, what is this? Basically, I think it's a rating of 1 to 5, where 1 indicates that the customer generally is keeping a very low balance, and 5 indicates that they are keeping a very high monthly average balance. So that's what the rating does. Now, your task is to create a chart, a graph, actual graph, where it shows the count of each category. For example, how many customers are there with scale of 1? How many customers are there with scale of 2? How many customers scale of 3, 4, and 5? Can you make that graph in the chart section, not in the statistics section? So get into the chart section, choose any type of graph. The default one is okay. And what I want to see is the count of customers with each rating. How many customers in 1? How many customers in 2, 3, 4, and 5? And if you do it, just let me know. Should be straightforward. Done? Okay. I share it. Yeah, all good. This looks good. Done. Perfect. Also, can you tell me, are we looking at a sample here? Are we looking at the whole data? Whole data, because it's 9,551, less than 10,000. So we are not involved in any sampling problem over here. But let me tell you, in spite of getting the right answer, where there is an issue. For those who couldn't do, let's do it together. If you go to charts and I choose vertical bars itself, that's not a problem. And what I can do is put balance scale average in x-axis. Oh, it's already there. I'll just delete it. 1 minute. Okay, so I'll put balance scale average in x-axis and I'll put count of records in y-axis. Okay, everyone has got this graph. Anyone who's not, please let me know. Now, if anyone is asking, okay, what are these numbers? I can always put the values and I can say 4,444 in the first category, 3,113 in second, 1,400 and so on. So there are a total of 4 categories. Okay. However, there is a problem with the graph. What is that problem? That's correct. That's right. Now, this is where you start understanding that there is a problem. And remember, this can become a problem further if you involve this variable in AI modeling and so on, because right now, data IQ is assuming your balance scale average to be something like integer or decimal. And that's why you see it's sort of clubbing 1 to 1.3, 1.3 to 1.6, blah, 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 which does not make sense. That's not the kind of graph that you are expecting. And this is what I want you to notice. When you see the results, observe, is this the kind of graph that you actually want, or there is a better way? What is the actual kind of graph that you are expecting? How should the graph really look like, if not like this? That's correct, on a scale, right? So it should show how many in 1, how many in 2, how many in 3, how many in 4. This clubbing and this numeric decimal and all that indicates that there is a potential problem. The moment you understood there's a potential problem, let's go back to explore. Okay, and let's look at that column which says balance scale average. Okay, can anyone tell me which one, the string to be changed as integer? Anyone else? Good guess. Now, this is where you should start thinking. What are these numbers? 1, 2, 3, 4. The ratings, correct? But are, okay, sorry? Yeah. No, it is the rating which is given. 1, 2, 3, 4 are the rating numbers which are given. Maybe it should be changed in tiny. Okay, anyone else? That is one way of doing that, which means change the way the graph is interpreting. That is definitely one way. But before that, now let's look at a more fundamental question here, and that's why all of you should understand data types in data IQ. Now remember, 1, 2, 3, 4 is a sort of a bit controversial column here. Because someone would say that, yeah, this is numeric because you can calculate the average of these numbers. But someone could say, no, these are ratings. 1, 2, 3, 4 are ratings. 1 is a different category, 2 is a different category, 3 is a different category, and 4 is a different category. Ideally, this is a categorical way. There are 4 categories: rating 1, rating 2, rating 3, and rating 4. However, in data IQ, there is no such data type called categorical. Let's have a look. So if I look at string and check what are the options, there is something called Boolean, but that's different. Why? What is Boolean? Anyone knows what type of data type it is? 0 or 1, yes or no, win or lose. So in that type, Boolean is okay. But here there are 4 categories: category 1, category 2, category 3, and category 4. And in general, you do not find a categorical data type for things like this. And what data IQ suggests is, if you are treating them as categories, retain them as strings, no problem. Which means 1 is a different category, 2 is a string, different category, 3 is a string, different category, 4 is a string, different category. Retain this as string and we will take care of the categories. Okay. So, which means the original stored data type as string is actually correct. There's no problem. The problem lies in the way data IQ is interpreting that. Now, this is where the platform actually is smart. If you look at it, though the stored type is string, because these are numbers, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, it is saying that I will infer it as numerical. I will infer it as integer because these are numbers. Now, it depends on the use case. Let's say if you believe that in future you would need something like the average of all customers rating scale, which means 1, 2, 3 different values are there. If at all you would need, let's say mean, median, and things like that, retain it as integer. Okay. But in this case, I don't see a need. I don't see that I'll be using them for average calculations and things like that. So I would ask data IQ, don't interpret it as integer. You stored it as string, interpret it also as a string, which means these are clearly four categories. Category 1, category 2, category 3, and category 4. There are no rights and wrong here. So you can argue, no, this is not a string, and I would want later on. It depends on the use case. And that's why I'm saying right at the start, you cannot build the schema because you need to understand in which context you are doing. Some things are straightforward. If it is, let's say age, it is an integer. You can't make it as a string. But in some cases, you have to use your judgment on how should data IQ store it and how should data IQ interpret it. Right now, storage is not a problem, but it is interpreting it as integer. And because it interpreted as integer, it started clubbing those values. You saw on the x-axis 1 to 1.3, 2 to this, and so on. I don't want that to happen. I will inform data IQ that you stored it as string, you also interpret it as string. And when I say string, categories, because in data IQ, string and categorical is the same. So let's change that and make that integer to text, which is string version of interpretation. So stored as a string, interpreted as a text, that means I'm looking at clear categories of columns. And now when I go to chart, and I can delete, you should see something in, or you can make a new chart if you want, up to you. So if you make a new chart, then let's drag balance scale average on X and count of records on Y. And now let's see how it comes up with the graph. I'll just refresh. There you go. So now these are clear categories, no clubbing of 1 to 1.5, no clubbing of 2. Just delete the ones if you're doing it on the same chart. If it's on a new chart, just refresh and build a new chart. These are all clear categories. There are 4 categories, category 1, category 2, category 3, as well as category 4. So that is a use case on where you see something wrong, then you go back, change the data type. So at any point of time, you can change the data type, you can change the inference, see as you go, take your own judgment on what is right, what is wrong, and then proceed accordingly. Is everyone ready for the first task? Now we'll just repeat the task which we did earlier. Let me remind you of the first task. And again, for every task, you can just click on new chart. And if you're wondering where do you do pivot tables in data IQ, there you go. If you click on the type of the chart as pivot tables, everything is the same. Rows, columns, values, exactly what we did. Anyone remembers the first task in bank data? It was pivot table. Which one was the first task that we did? We had the list of cities, and what were we calculating for each city? average of customer rating. Let's go ahead and do that. I want list of cities, Dubai, Abu Dhabi, London, etc. For each city, I want the average of customer rating in the form of pivot table, and pivot table is already there in front of you. Let's see who can make it. Remember, the concept remains the same: rows, columns, values when you build your table. Sorry. So you need to make a list of cities, and for each city, the average of customer rate. Done. What's the first one? The rate is actually 4.3. Just one added task over there. See the whole list. This complete. Can you find Delhi in the list? Done. Make it pivot table. No charts. Exactly pivot table. So in the chart, use pivot table as an option. Put the right thing in the row, put the right thing in the column, put the right thing in the values. If you remember what we did in pivot tables. And if you think you have done it, find New Delhi in the list. Maybe you won't be able to. That is correct. Yes. Find Delhi. Delhi in the list. That's a problem. Let's see. No problem. Yeah, that's right. But just see if you can spot Delhi in the list. Yes. Sorry. No, you don't need columns here. It's only the list and the values. So there are no columns. Remember, there is only one set of values that you're seeing. So you don't have columns here. You have rows and you have the values. Lubna, thank you. Yes, that looks good, but New Delhi is missing. Did anyone spot New Delhi and could make any changes by which New Delhi is seen? Okay, interesting. New Delhi is nice. Yeah, nice. Correct. You're getting a hang of it. I'm quite happy. Let's do it together. So, first of all, what should, again, the concept of the pivot remains the same, irrespective of whether you're doing it in Excel or if you're doing it in Data IQ. So, first, I would say, what do I want in each rows? What do I want in each row? City. So, let me drag city to rows. Done and dusted. There is only one set of values, so no columns here, no multiple columns, so nothing in columns. What do I put in value? Customer rating. So let's take customer rating, put it in the value. And very smartly, obviously, you expect Data IQ to be smarter than Excel. So by default, it understood that average makes more sense. So it has already done average for you. But if at all you want anything other than average, then just click on these options. Okay, whatever, wherever you want to change, you see the function is average. You can change that to whatever you want, mean, median, maximum, etc., etc. So everything, all things related to that particular column comes in value. So average is okay. I don't want to change anything. The only problem is if you scroll down, this is what it has done. And again, this is Data IQ being smart. So what it understood is there's a long list of cities, okay? And, it doesn't make sense to put all the list of cities in the entire table. So what it has done is after Bogor, it has put others and combined all the other cities. And that's why you don't see anything beyond that city because all the other cities have been combined and the combined average is 2.62, whatever that number is. And that's data IQ being smart, but does not serve our purpose. I want the full list of cities. I want every city to reflect the average calculation. And this is not something that I want. In some cases, you might want it. You might say, oh, great feature. You have clubbed, all the remaining values. The table doesn't become long. So in a way, it has used its AI features to sort of make the table much more better. And the same concept remains. Anything that you want to change, you will find it in the options. Now, I know something has happened in city, which means if I look into the options of city, I will find. That's correct. Now, there are two things. Now listen very carefully. One option that you see, which is enabled, is group extra values as others. Okay. Now, I can first of all remove that. I don't want it. Okay. Which means don't do this grouping into others. I don't want. And then maximum display values. How many values do you want to see in that table? I'm not sure how many cities are there. I can just put 10,000 because anyway, the number of cities will be less than 10,000. So you put a bigger number and that's it. It will reflect. Now the entire table is right in front of you. Anyone who has not got it, let me know. So if I look into the table, and look into New Delhi, the score is 2.43, which, if you remember, we said it is wrong. Anyone remembers why this 2.43 is wrong? No, there was something else. No, not empty values, zero values, which is called not rated. Currently, they were included in the calculations, and we said no, we cannot include those zero values because they are not numerical value zero. They actually represent not rated, and they should be excluded, which is your next task. Now, can you figure out where do I exclude? Which option can I use to remove those not rated and then calculate the value of New Delhi? Done? What's the new value for New Delhi? 3.29. That's correct. You mean? Yes. If you have done it, you should see the new score of New Delhi will be 3.29. Done? No? The option is right there in front of you. Look here, filters and tooltip. You can spot the filters option. That's all what you need. And you can put rating text as one of the filters and then remove not rated. Let's do it. So everyone have a look here. If you see pivot table, there are two options, setup and format. In setup, you have filters. And what I can do is drag the rating text to filters. And there you go. So right now, everything is included in the calculation. I would say, please remove not rated. I don't want that in the calculation. And that's it. Your new values are now does not include not rated as one of the parameters. So use those filters. Just find the option. Data IQ is all about this. Find the right place where you can do the right thing. Otherwise, there's no rocket science. It's all quite self-intuitive. Anyone who needs help, I'll give you 2 minutes to just digest everything which is there before I give the next task. Ready? Is everyone ready? Shall we move on to the next one? Okay, tell me this. Last week, have you covered prepare recipe and formulas? Okay, it's a test of that now. Let's go back. Now, here is a thing. And by the way, this activity which you're going to do next, it is called feature engineering. If you remember, I had mentioned this word, which means there is a column. And using that column, I'm trying to derive one more column. That process is known as feature engineering because I'm deriving more features from what is already existing. Now, what feature am I talking about? Let's have a look. Which one shall we work on? Okay, let's work on this one, the customer rating itself. All of you can spot this column, customer rating credit score. Okay. Now, here is a task that you need to do. You need to create a new column called new rating. I repeat, you need to create a new column called new rating. And how should you create this column? Whichever values of customer rating are greater than or equal to 3, you should label them as good. I repeat, whichever customer rating has the rating greater than equal to 3, you should label them as good. The other ones, you should label them as bad, which means I should have a new column here with only two values, good or bad. Good are the ones where the rating is greater than equal to 3. Bad are the ones, other ones. Let's give a shot. This would need prepare recipe. This would need formulas, slightly complicated. You can't do it in the explore stage. So you'll have to go back to flow and start your prepare recipe. And by the way, these are the places where you can actually take help of ChatGPT or GenAI. Let's say you don't know the formula, and you can always say, I'm trying to do something in data IQ. Give me the formula where I need to put some if condition and put that formula in the right place. So condition was greater than equal to 3. If it is greater than equal to 3, then good. Otherwise, you should label it as bad. Anyone? The prepare recipe. Okay. So you can put it. You got this. And then you can put some. Yes. Good. So anything greater than equal to 3 will be good. Else it is bad. If you're not comfortable with prepare recipe, then we'll do it together. So don't I would recommend not trying that because you'll mess up few things. If you're not comfortable, just stay for 5 minutes. We'll do step by step. I'll tell you the best way to do it. Yeah. This is what? Yes. If it doesn't not rating, then it's good. And it's bad. Yeah, perfect. Makes sense. Return. Yeah. It looks correct. Yes. 2 is back. Perfect. Sure. Done. Nice. All right, guys, let's do it together. Also, I just want to make sure that you visualize what you're doing correctly. It's not just about achieving the task. So everyone, please pay attention here. Everyone, here, we are doing it together. So first things first, it's very important to know for which data are you selecting the right recipe. Okay. Right now, there is only one data, so it's not very much important, but there is a possibility that there are 3 or 4 data sets. So you need to click on this data, single click first, this flow, so that the options would open up. Okay. And now what it says, what do you want to do with this data? Do you want to prepare? Do you want to split it? Do you want to join? Do you want to do top N, etc., etc.? You decide the kind of recipe. Any data manipulation that you have to do, it is always in prepare recipe. Anything that you want to change, replace the missing values, add another column, delete the null values, etc., etc. Everything comes in data preparation recipe. So what I would do is I would click on this first, then I would click on prepare recipe. And basically, this is what it is asking you. This is the data that it will take, and what is the new data set that you want to make. You can give any name that you want. By default, it says prepared data. You can keep the default name, no problem, and then enter into create recipe. Okay. Now, to be comfortable with the create recipe, what I want you to do is right at this stage, go back to the flow. Right at this stage, go back to the flow and you see what is happening to your data. There was a data, you applied prepare recipe, and it resulted in a new data set. Why do you think this new data set is dot, dot, dot and not like this? It's not complete. We have not run it. We have not made any changes. It's right now in a preparation state. Once we finish the preparation and run it, this will also become something like this. Okay. And now the good part is you can go to any place you want. If you double click the prepare recipe, you will enter into prepare recipe. If you double click on this, you will enter into the prepared data set. So the flow gives you a great idea of where you are in your journey. That's why I say constantly build this practice of going back to the flow, understanding where you are. So right now I can say, okay, there was an original data set. I did the recipe and I'm about to get a new data set, which is the prepared one. Now to make any changes, where do you think I'll go now? Prepare recipe. So I can just double click on that and get into the prepare recipe. Okay. Now hold on at this stage because I want you to understand what these things are. Now, this perhaps is the most beautiful feature of data IQ, and I'll tell you why. What happens is you can do similar things in Excel, not all the things, but at least half of the features, formulas and everything you can do. But the problem in Excel is there is no way to keep track of all the transformations that you have done. So for example, you created a new one, then you did this, then you applied, then you changed the data type. Excel can maximum let you undo what you have done, but nothing like a sequential track. Here, the game is completely different. Every small change that you do to your data, it will appear as steps. Step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. And the good part is at any point of time, you realize, oh, whatever I did in step 1 was actually not required. Great, just delete step 1. The other steps are still there in your entire history. At any point of time, you realize that, oh, when I was making that new column, instead of greater than equal to 3, it should have been greater than 3. No problem. Go to that step, modify that step, and then come back to publishing your data. So your entire history of steps would appear here. The good part is these changes are not done till you click run. It is still in experimental stage. And again, the good part is you did step 1, step 2, step 3, and you realize, no, step 3 should be done first, step 1 should be done later. You can rearrange the sequence of the steps. The entire history of data manipulation comes as separate windows. Step 1 is a window, step 2 is a window, 3 is a window. You can do the sequencing of that, you can modify that, you can keep on playing till you press the run button. Nothing will happen to your data. That's a great way to do data transformation. Remember, even if you click run and it applies the changes, you can still come back and you can remove one of the steps and say, no, I don't want this in my journey. And you can republish the data. That's why data IQ is so powerful, because the entire data manipulation, data preparation stage in the life cycle is actually captured as step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, and so on. So let's get started. Now, there are multiple ways of doing this. So first, let's say if which column was that for which I had mentioned customer rating, right? Now there are two ways. Either you start from here, okay? Which way did you see last week? Add a new step, right? So this is one way that you add a new step, choose what you want to do, what kind of transformation. Sometimes I actually prefer going from here because there's less of a complication. Why? Because I know that currently I'm going to deal with this column, right? So maybe if I find the right option in the column itself, then I can avoid going to add a new step and I can do from there. So both are essentially the same, but it's just about where you're starting with. Let me show you. So let's click on customer rating and see the options on what sort of transformation can you do. It says you can round it off to integer. Let's check on more actions. What all transformation? You can have a duplicate column. You can find and replace if you want to, and so on and so forth. Which one do you think I'm going to apply now? Conditional. Process with formula, or conditional formatting will only label it. With formula, I can actually create a new variable. So I will go for this option, which is process with formula. It is exactly the same if you go with this also, but I always prefer going to the column and then choosing the option, whichever suits you. So I would say click on process with formula. And what I want you to know, or what I want you to notice, this card has been created. This is one step in your journey, and I actually want you to feel that step. So what you can do is, if you see this, you see it moves as a card, right? So step 1 is a different card, step 2 is a different card, step 3 is a different card, and you can change the order of the cards. You can put step 2 down. Right now, there is only one step, so we don't have multiple steps. As and when we keep on adding, these are all your modification cards. And every card has the information that you need to. And in this case, now I will click on Open Editor Panel because I need to put some formulas here. Now, let me check. First of all, it says, what's the name of the output column? New customer rating, right? Output column. Where do you want the customer, the new column to be created? So I would say new column is the name, new rating, let's say, is the name of my new column that I'm trying to create. Now, be very careful here. If I did not change this, what do you think will happen? Correct. So it will replace the values of good and bad on the same column, which I don't want, right? I don't want to disturb the original column. That's why I've given a new name to the column, which is called new rating. Now, let's come to this part, which is the formula. Now, generally what I do is I just delete whatever is there. Okay. Don't use anything which is there. And intuitively, we start building the formula. Now, there are multiple ways. And listen very carefully. Method number 1 is try and understand the formula. For example, you know which formula is going to apply here. Which formula is it? if else, right? So I start typing if and I take help from data IQ and I complete my formula. Method number one. Method number two, go to GPT. And that's why I said in your hackathon, in your everything, this is allowed. This is perfect way of making your work smarter. You go to GPT, you go to Claude, and you say, I'm working on data IQ. I'm trying to convert this column into this, and any value greater than 3 equal to 3 should be good, else it should be bad. Can you give me the exact formula that I can use right here? Okay. The only disadvantage is if you misspell something, the variable name might be here and there. So you have to be a bit careful. That's method number two. Method number three is what you will curse me for, because I'm not enabling that option right now, but I will enable it in your hackathon. Now, what is that option? Perhaps the most mind-blowing option that Data IQ has. If I enable that option for all of your accounts, you will have a text prompt here. And you just have to type in English what you want. So let's say if you type, oh, I want all the customer ratings greater than 3 to be good, else bad, that's it. Then and there, it will convert into an actual formula and it will plug that. So you don't need to know any formula. Any transformation. So let's say you're thinking about, okay, all the NA values should be replaced by 0 and others should just type it in English. It's an AI prompt that appears right here in this step. You put it in English, click enter, it will translate into formula, and then you can directly use it. But I don't want you to get used to it right now. I want you to build formulas and then use AI features a bit later. And I'm telling you that you will use it and you'll appreciate it much because that's where the future is going, right? So no need to remember any formulas. You still have a lot of options, okay? But right now, let's assume I don't have any help. I can start typing if. And you see, it's already sort of helping me with the syntax. And what was the name of the column? Customer rating, right? See, when I'm typing customer rating, it's pulling out the list, which is great. I don't have to type in the exact column name and so on. So I can just choose and let me zoom in. Okay. So if customer rating, just click on that so that it automatically fills everything for you. Once again, if you want, I can show you the whole thing. Let's say if nothing is there, I'll just delete it. I would say if I would start typing and I would say if customer rating, and the moment I type, it shows me all the fields. I'll click customer rating. And then I can say this greater than equal to 3, comma, and see it's helping me with the syntax. If condition, comma, what should come when it is true, comma, what should come when it is false. As simple as that. What do you think it should come when it is true? Good. And because good is a string, always use double quotes. So I would use double quotes and put it as good, comma. Now is the else part. I would put it as bad. And the mind-blowing feature here is as and when you're typing, you're seeing a preview over here just to make sure that are you going in the right direction, and you see 4.8, 4.5, all these are above 3. So they have been converted into good already. That means my formula is working. Without even applying that formula, you get a nice preview of what is there. And if anyone is still not clear, let me just put it in a Word document. There you go. This is what I have typed in. So you just have to type customer rating. It will pick up everything on its own. Only thing you need to do is put a greater than equal to 3, comma. If it is true, then good, comma. If it is false, then bad. And just make sure that your preview looks correct. And once you're satisfied that preview is looking good, it says formula is valid, there is no bracket, comma, error. If there's any error, it will not put a tick mark over there. If everything looks good, just click on apply. And that's it. And let's see if it's actually reflected on the data. There you go. You can check it. Yeah. I can help. Those, yeah. Maybe some comments here. So if oh, you can close the protection. Good. And yeah. Yes. Sorry. Okay. Yes. Very good. Shall I read this one? Okay, so can I read this? It's not there. So last time when you did it, you applied it on the same plot. So it has already become good or bad with the last. It was already done in your case, but that's not what is needed because you don't replace the existing one. So what you can do is replace the existing one. You replace. Okay. Okay. Yeah, you can just write. Correct, because now it has already been. Yeah. Then just write. Yes. Yeah, I'm fine on. So let's say if I was doing add new step and not this method. Correct. Anything you can do. There are a lot of things. So for example, if condition is here, there you go. Create if then else statement. And then you can say if customer ID contains this, that is one method. There should be another method of just a formula. Just a minute. Yeah, so there you go. Formula. So if you click add new step, if you click on formula, you enter into the same thing. Exactly the same. So what you can do is in the output column, just name it as, let's say, new rating, and then open the editor panel, and that's it. You type your formula here. So in the new step, formula is the one, or if else, that is also possible, where you can play with if else and then add that as a step. Multiple options. There could be. So in the if else also, let's have a look there. So in this, let's check if yeah, it probably wouldn't give you no missing output column name. Yeah, there you go. So you have add column. You can add a new column and say new rating. You can try with this. In the new column of the if could possibly work. Original column should not change. Then part, correct. So if part is the original column, if customer rating is greater than equal to 3, in the then part, you say new rating is good, new rating is bad, and so on. So you can either choose an existing one or add a new one there. So both options are. So the better version would be previous one. Ask AI to exactly, yeah. In this, you have to manually feed in everything. Correct. So with the formula AI, when you prompt, it will just make a formula directly. Much better. Much better. Also, guys, if you have everyone, please pay attention. Now that you see, I have done multiple steps. So you can see this was the first one. This is the second one. This is the third one. I can delete whichever step is not needed. So I will delete the other ones and I'm ready with only the first one. Let's just experiment if you have understood this right correctly. Before you do run, let's do one more transformation with the same effects. You see the balance scale average, everyone? Yeah. So what I want you to do, if the balance scale average is 4, then the new column should say excellent, else it should say average. If it is 1, 2, or 3, the text version of that should be average. If it is 4, then it should be excellent. Let's see if you can do that. So create a new column called new balance scale average. If the balance scale average is 4, exactly 4, then it is excellent, else it is average. 4 is excellent, only 4 as a value is excellent. Everything else is average. Let's see. complete that. Okay. What do you need the new column? New. Okay. And this is average. This is else it is average. That's fair. Good job. Done. Perfect. Make sure you can see the new column picture where only the 4 should be reflected as excellent. Everything else should be average. Ali, can you help us with the option? Did you go for new step or did you click on the column? New step. Okay. And formula? Okay, 1 minute. So I'll go for new step. I'll click on formula. I'll use the other way now. New step option. You can choose anyone that you want. Now it says, what is your output column? I would say balance new, balance scale new. And I can open the editor panel and I can say if balance scale average is equal to excellent, no, sorry, is equal to 4, then it is excellent, else it is bad. Oh, sorry, average. Yeah. By the way, in data IQ, you use equal to 4, not single equal to. That could be an error. And again, that's where ChatGPT could be great, where you can say, what is the formula? So I'm saying if the balance scale average is equal to 4, then it should be excellent, else it should be average. It's perfectly reflecting in my sample output, looks good. My formula is also valid. Everything looks good. I can click on apply. So this is the second transformation that we have done. If else one is also fine. As far as it's working, any method that suits you, you're good to go. Anyone who has not done the second step before we move on to the third transformation step? Pavi, please have all good. Okay, let's see. So balance PNU, this is fine. Here balance PNU, yeah, it's excellent. Comma, continue. Else it is. So you need to just click on apply and then come back to the step. So you see how my screen looks like. Everyone, please have a look. That mini card that you see was the first one that I did. The big card is the current one that I'm doing. So that's step 2 in my transformation. And we will do one more step before we run everything and apply all the transformation. So let's say, okay, we will solve the problem. Everyone pay attention. We'll solve the problem of zeros in a very different way. And this is your next task. You remember when we had that customer rating, which is credit score. Yeah. There were a lot of zero values. And what did those zero values indicate? Not rated, right? It was not that the rating was zero. They were actually representing not rated. So here is your task. As a bank, I'm telling you, why do you put zeros in here? Can you replace all zeros with NR, which means the entire column looks as it is. Wherever there is a zero, you replace that with NR, which is not rated. Go ahead. That in customer rating. That? Yes. Okay, good. Perfect. Nice. And how many values are there for NR? Sorry, 214. And perfect, nice. Yeah. Can we please? This is which one? Which values? This is also ready. Then you do best data. Right here. Balance. No, not it's equal to excellent. Oh. Done? Did you highlight or did you change to it? You changed, right? Okay. So which option did you use to do this? Okay, so let's see what are the options in credit rating. Which action did you take? Analyze. Okay. Categorical. And then you change here. Ah, okay. Interesting. Anyone did any other way? Yep. Find and replace. That's also amazing option. So if you go to more actions, you have find and replace, which works very well. So in this case, what I would do is I would not change anything in the sense of output column, and I would not name it a new one. And then replacement, I will add a replacement. So I would say replace 0 with NR. And that's it. Let's check. And yep, let's check. Let's check. There you go. So it has now started reflecting NR for all the 0 values. And that's my step 3. So I will just show you. This is step 1. This is step 2. This is step 3. By whichever way, if you want to achieve, if you go to analyze, you want to change 0 to NR, that's fine. You can use find and replace. That's also an option. Now, can you tell me, everyone, can you tell me why do you see NR in red? So, yeah, I changed it to text, but what red generally means there's a problem. And why does it think NR is a problem? Let's see. Here is your answer. So it is stored as double, which means it is stored as a decimal point number. And suddenly, when a text comes inside decimal point number, then it says, sorry, this cannot be the case. So here is a question to you. How can I make this still go ahead with the same philosophy? I don't want to, I still want NR to be there.
String.
Change the double to what?
String.
String. And let's try string. And the interpretation as
Integer. No, decimal.
interpretation as integer won't be correct. No. Okay, let's see double. So you mean the stored as double? Okay, stored as double and interpreted as text. Yeah, that's perfect. So which means what I'm doing is wherever NR is coming, because there is a string, you can interpret it as text, but the original data type is a number, which is double. So that is one way of taking care of it. And again, the message that I want to convey is on the go, you need to take these decisions, right? Wherever you're facing a hurdle, you say, okay, this is what it is. I can change the stored data type like this, the interpretation like this, and I can still continue. And once you have done all the steps, just look at those boxes. This is step 1, this is step 2, this is step 3. The good part in data IQ, you can rearrange the order. You can bring step 1 right at the end. You can take step 3 and put it at the first. So you can change the order of sequence in which you are doing the transformation. In this case, they are independent of each other, but in certain cases, you want to do something first, then something second, then something third. So the rearranging is a great way to check. The interesting part is in complex projects, when there are thousands of transformations that you're doing, you can also search the transformation that you did. You see, there's a search step option, which gives you an option to figure out where you have made what changes. It's an ultimate tool to keep track of all the changes. And now it's time to run this across my data set. And now I would say, look, I've done everything and it's time to run. All of you are also running. So you see all the jobs starting over there. And if I have to verify if it is done or not, I will go back to my flow and I will check if my new data is ready or not. And I would double click the new data and get inside the prepared data set to see if it is ready or not. Yep, everything is good. New rating is there. Balance scale new is there. Everything is there. And you're back to the flow. Anyone who has not reached need help? So I think the value should not, because now this is just delete the whole thing. It can automatically pick up, so just delete it. Just start typing. Yeah. Yeah, because of all of us are running together. But yeah, it's much better. Okay, let's go ahead. Okay, let's extend this one. Yeah. So it says this is what you are checking. This is the checking box. That's what That's the effects possible. If this is there, what else? But you can have multiple cases, okay? Like inside the group part, you can have another impact with the effects, and inside the false part, you can have another impact. So that also the same. If there's a condition, you can do there. Yeah. Depends on where you are comfortable. With the AI feature, now that's a good question, guys, and then we'll finish. So the question is, which one is a better approach? Like if you want to do if else, should you click on the new step and then do if else, or with the formula? I would say if the AI feature was not there, then the traditional if else add a new step was a good option. But now with the text prompting which is available, everything is a formula. Whatever you want to do, just type it in English, it converts that into a formula and it gets going. So I would say formula, if you get used to, is a decent option because in the hackathon, you will have access to the AI feature where you can just do a text prompt and it will convert automatically to formula. So then use the formula, but always keep in mind this option is also there because the other option is very straightforward. It's like, 100% you know what you're doing. In this, it could come up with some random formula. AI can make the formulas a bit complex. But because AI feature is there, now no one remembers the formula. You just need to put a text prompt and convert it. Any other questions that I can help you with? In customer rating. Yes, ideally we should have done a lot of other transformation, which we will do. So when we go to a AI modeling, this is what we will see. We'll see, look, there are still some missing values, there are still some NRs, there are still some this. We treat everything and then move on to the AI recipe where we will start running the models. Any other questions that I can help you with? All good? If yes, then I'll see you all tomorrow afternoon. Take care. Thank you so much.
So,
Yeah.
in the columns, if by mistake I press something wrong, then how do I put it?
Which column?
Anything like, for example. Now, I was next doing this, so I by mistake to be clear some option as well. So, is there any option that I can put it? So now I did sort.
Yeah.
But then again, there was this.
But it doesn't change anything. It's like if you are changing your data, then you can do only the prepare recipe. And then you can delete that step where you made the change. This is just the view of the data. So even if you're sorting, you're just viewing the data in a different way. So it is not changing the data that you need to go back. But yeah, anything that you actually change in the prepare recipe, you can double click on the prepare one. That step where you change something, you can get rid of it, rerun again, and the data gets updated. Yeah. All right. Thank you so much, guys. See you tomorrow.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, online students. If anyone needs any help,
Thank you, sir.
thank you.
Thank you, sir. So my attendance, I couldn't scan the QR.
Yeah. So, whenever you have missed the one, I'll create a form.